game that was good to the very last kick last Saturday in Dublin, Ireland. But Georgia Tech knows a win only goes as far as the follow-up. And now it's on to the home opener for your Yellow Jackets. Will open up the 112th season at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field this weekend with an historic first meeting against Georgia State. Tommy's Leather is at 8 o'clock. Wear your white. We will talk about it all with you over the next hour here on the Brent Key Coaches Show live on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. We are live tonight from New Realm Brewing Company on the east side belt line of Atlanta. Good to see so many of you staying hydrated in this Atlanta heat. I like your thinking, and we look forward to seeing you pack up Bobby Dodd Stadium this Saturday for the official home opener, kind of a second season opener as your Yellow Jackets return from that win versus number 10 Florida State and take on the Georgia State Panthers, who will be making it their season opener. My name is Andy Demetra, but you want to hear from this man to my left. Let's welcome him in, head coach for your Yellow Jackets. He is Brent Key. Brent, how are you?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just a word of warning. I will have to ask you a little bit about last week's game because we have an hour to fill, but I know your sights have been trained pretty much from not even when you landed, but probably when you were 30,000 feet over the Atlantic on Georgia State. You said to your guys, this is a one-game season, and that season is this weekend. For those who may have missed your press conference, can you elaborate on the message you've given to your team and how they've embraced that in their preparation this week?
Yeah, so we landed back in Atlanta about 2:30 on Sunday. Came straight to the facility. Had a wonderful welcome coming back. A lot of the students showed up, which was really cool to see. I want to make sure people understand, my mentality with these things. I want these guys to enjoy the win. I really do, and they enjoy the crap out of it. We got 24 hours to enjoy it, and I enjoyed it as much as anybody. Well, we put a lot of work in, 365 days a year for 12 opportunities that are guaranteed. So, the guys were able to enjoy it, and then we landed, got back to the facility. Then they went straight to the weight room. AJ worked them out for about 45 minutes to an hour. Then they went out on the field. We did 110s, which are 110-yard sprints. Came back in, had a team meeting, closed out the game, talked about the game. We had a team meeting before we left Dublin. Had a team meeting, talked about really that everything that we do, and really they set really a standard for the way to play. And the thing about a standard is you either get better or worse. It never stays the same, right? And now the next step is really creating an identity, right? And the difference in the two is a standard is what you do, and identity is who you are. It's no different than your last name. So, all of our goals are in front of us. Really, nothing is behind us. And then I gave the analogy to the team that, there's a reason why when you're driving in a car that you don't look in the rearview mirror. You glance in the rearview mirror, and then you move forward and you move on. And if you look in the rearview mirror too long, you're gonna have a wreck.
Not a rambling wreck, but yes.
No, a real wreck, like a nasty wreck.
I believe Jelly Roll also said something to that effect in his CMA acceptance speech, that the windshield is bigger than the rear view for a reason.
So, Jelly Roll. So me and AP would have a really good conversation about Jelly Roll.
Okay, AP being Anthony Parker.
Anthony Parker,
yep.
Director of Player Development, really is involved with all the guys, a lot of the things on the team. We talk about Jelly Roll a lot. For a while, we were calling him Jelly Bean. We thought his name was Jelly Bean. But then we found out, we realized it was Jelly Roll, and that's pretty cool. He's a fantastic artist.
He's a big guy, too, and I'm sure if you were watching, he would have been impressed with your big guys last Saturday because you controlled the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense. I caught up with Jeep Wade, your offensive line coach, this afternoon. He'll be our pregame guest on our radio broadcast Saturday. He said, you know what, I woke up Sunday unhappy. Because, he sees things at such an acute level, and he knows that as well as his team played 190 rushing yards against a very stout Florida State defensive line, he also knows that his unit is nowhere close to its ceiling yet. But what made it a solid first game for this iteration of the Georgia Tech O-line?
Yeah, well, the thing they did, they played together. And that's the thing that you want with an offensive line. You want those five guys to be able to play together. And really, it's the five guys. It's the tight end. It's the quarterback. The running back. All of them have to be in sequence and be on the same page. I thought they played together. I thought they played hard. And look, that's all you can ask for is guys to go out, prepare the right way, practice the right way, and then you want to go out and play as hard as you possibly can. We play one play at a time. We play for 60 minutes. There's no scoreboard, no clock. Right? None of that stuff matters. And I thought those guys did that, regardless of the situation, regardless of the setback that might have occurred. They kept playing and kept playing, and I thought they did a nice job.
And then on the other side, Florida State had 58 rushing yards in that opening drive. Rest of the game, 26 carries, 40 yards. And I know they count yards lost due to sacks against the team's rushing total. You take away your one sack, that would have been 25 carries, 44 yards for FSU's traditional running game. Not much better. What allowed you guys to squeeze down that Florida State running game? Who on your defensive line, when you graded the film, really did a good job with his responsibilities to help account for a very good first showing stopping the run?
You talk about responsibilities, but really, overall, it was the response. It was the response to that first drive that, and I think now, people understand why I love Tyler Santucci so much. I mean, this team, had a setback on the first drive, right? And, that Florida State went down the field. But when you look at it, I think everyone on the sideline was like, all right, well, that was on us. Right, it was first game jitters, anxiety, whatever had been built up, and we had some busts, and like that's on us. It was nothing they did that we can't prevent ourselves from being able to be successful. They came to the sideline. There was no finger pointing. They wanted to get coached. The coaches on the sideline coached them up. Tyler, made the adjustments the right way, and they were able to come out and play well the rest of the game. So, and we have the luxury of being able to play a lot of guys on the defensive line now, and we have depth there. We've through recruiting and through some transfers have been able to come in to have depth there, and we've got to continue to get some of those other guys that are in the depth to play. But I thought overall the defensive line really settled in. Made some plays in the game. Allowed anytime you have a linebacker that has 10 tackles, the defensive line's doing their job.
Yeah. Kyle Leifert, the one who had double-digit tackles, he won ACC Linebacker of the Week. Jamal Haynes, his first multi-rushing touchdown game of his career. ACC Running Back of the Week. Weston Franklin, your center, was ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Haynes King, ACC Quarterback of the Week. Why the ACC has conference awards in Week 0 when there are only 2 teams playing is beyond me. But you know what? Those guys deserve it. It'll be on their mantle. And let's talk about Haynes King. 11 of 16 passing, 15 rushes, 54 yards. He seemed to manipulate that mesh well. What were your thoughts on Haynes' debut?
I thought he executed the game plan to perfection. Right? Every game's different. You go into the first game of the season, there's a lot of unknowns. Right? You have to focus on yourself. And this coming week's really no different. I mean, this is a second game one for us, really, when it comes to having information and film on the opponent. I thought he understood the game plan. He took the game plan out there. He executed it. And again, I'm gonna say this again. Something that I'm seeing in this team, that I've seen in this team for a long time now, is the ability to handle the setbacks. All right, it's not about the setbacks; it's about the next play. It's about how you continue to play. Because when you're not successful or you have a failure, right? It should be a learning lesson. It should be something that makes you stronger, makes you better. And I thought that's what happened. I mean, even next to the last play of the game, or 3 plays before the end of the game, we had a miscue with the exchange, and I mean, to come back, we come to the sideline, we'd call timeout, and Mike had called, the other coach had called timeout, and we come there, and it was put that play behind, move on to the next. There was no throwing the fist, mad. I was like, hey, we have a job to do, is to play the next play, and I thought those guys did that. And Haynes is the leader of it.
And that 11th completion went for 12 yards to Eric Singleton, got you guys down to the FSU 27 to set the stage for Aiden Burr connecting on the first walk-off game-winning field goal at Georgia Tech since Harrison Butker did it versus Virginia Tech back in 2014. And as a result, Georgia Tech, they crossed off some milestones. First win over a top 10 team since Florida State back in 2015. First win over a ranked opponent in the season opener since 2005. How about this? First win over a top 10 opponent in a season opener since 1981. And that win over Alabama. So a lot of things. What did I miss there, Coach?
Well, I was going to give a trivia question or something.
Oh, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, well,
I got some other trivia.
I got a trivia question. I mean, who was that against? All right, when was it? I may or may not have known the score, but
okay. I know that you're probably looking at the playbook more than the media guides, so
we don't even have media guides anymore.
They're online.
Oh.
They're PDFs.
I can't spell that.
I get some more trivia for you. How about that? We got a lot of ground to cover and some time to kill. Here for you over the next hour, live from New Realm Brewing on the East Side Beltline of Atlanta. He's Brent Key. I'm Andy Dementor. We'll have more of the Brent Key Coaches Show after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. The Brent Key Coaches Show in advance of the home opener at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. Saturday night, Tommy Leather, 8 o'clock. The very first meeting between your Yellow Jackets and the Georgia State Panthers. He's Brent Key. I'm Andy Demetra. Coach, one of the benefits of playing a Week 0 game on national television, nearly 5 million people were watching on TV. I imagine, 2, 3, 4 times that many listening to us on the radio. A lot of people were fixated on that game, including, evidently, Matthew McConaughey, who on Twitter congratulated his fellow Longview High School alum, Haynes King. That had to be pretty cool for Haynes and probably everybody else.
Somebody told me that.
Yeah.
And
by the way, you cannot read that tweet from Matthew McConaughey without sounding like Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Exactly.
Fixing to be a lot better, man.
Have you ever danced in the pale moonlight?
I
Yes.
mean, something about them redheads. I can quote every line from Dazed and Confused that there possibly is.
I was going to ask you, which is your favorite Matthew McConaughey?
Dazed and Confused.
I was narrowed it down to Dazed and Confused. We Are Marshall, Wolf of Wall Street.
He wasn't a huge role in that movie, though.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah,
it was
your chest. Sure. I was not going to say How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I didn't peg you as a rom-com guy.
That's 3 for me. I know Danielle and Harper are probably listening now.
Yeah.
That's probably number 1 for her.
She'll make you watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. That'll be your sentence now. Having to watch the rom-com.
I may or may not have seen it on Lifetime on Sundays at some point in time.
Yeah, in between, one eye grading film, the other eye watching that.
Every male in this audience just smiled and said, we know about Lifetime movies on Sundays.
You got to do that sometimes. Got to pay that toll. It had to be very cool last Saturday sharing that victory and sharing that moment with George O'Leary. He was out on the trip. I only bring this up because you were able to exercise maybe that moment and that memory. You and George O'Leary, and you talked about this. You played in Ireland at Croke Park in Dublin to open the 2014 season with UCF. You're playing Penn State. You lost that game on a field goal as time expired. 10 years later, what do you do with Coach O'Leary in attendance? You win a game in Dublin, Ireland on a field goal as time expired. How cool was that to share that full circle moment with your boss, George O'Leary?
Yeah, it was. It was a cool experience. To see him after the game. He came up and they were doing the little ceremony at the end of the game, and I had to see him and talk to him. I talked to him. He called on Sunday, and really, I've worked for 2 guys. I've worked for George O'Leary and Nick Saban, and for both of those guys to be there, it was so bizarre. Thursday practice when we get there, Nick was there. Coach O'Leary was there on Friday at practice, and then so I'm like, we have no choice but to win this game, guys, because if we don't, I have got a major butt chewing coming from both of these guys. It's just no, it was. Those guys have both meant so much to me. Coach O'Leary has been so much more than a coach, than a boss to me, and to see him and see the excitement that he had and him and his friends, it was pretty cool.
Nick and George, they're pretty hard-driving guys. When you saw them, did the instincts kick in and your heart start pounding a little heavier? Seeing them out on the practice field?
They're the 2 guys. Those guys call, and it's like, I jump up out of my seat and I walk around in a circle, and somebody will walk by my office and they'll see me on the phone walking in a circle, and they'll be like, we know who he's talking to right now. It's no, they did things a certain way. It worked for them. I don't know if you can do everything the way they've done. Coach O'Leary probably get mad at me saying this, but a couple of times he's called and may or may not have told me to take it easy on the guys, to take it easy on the coaches, let them go home at some point and all that stuff. He's softened up a lot in his older age.
Well, I'll tell you what, that win certainly warmed his heart on Saturday, as it did for many other Georgia Tech fans. Jamal Haynes, ACC running back of the week. He was not the only back who made an impact versus Florida State. Trey Cooley went down on the opening kickoff, and so Chad Alexander got moved up. He got the snaps at running back behind Jamal, 7 carries, 41 yards, no negative rushing yards. We're talking about a former walk-on who did not have a single carry in his career since starting last year. He goes out there, looks like he belongs against the number 10 team in the nation. What enabled Chad to climb that depth chart in the offseason? What allowed him to have such an impressive debut versus FSU?
You know, the one thing about the way we do we run our program is it doesn't matter if you're a walk-on or scholarship. I mean, those things are people can't tell who the walk-ons are and who the scholarship guys are. Right? Our job as coaches are to play the best players, recruit the best players, get the best players in your program, and then, you know, create competition so the best players go out there and play. And as a true freshman last year, I mean, he did such a tremendous job on special teams. I mean, he's a 10-3, 10-400 guy now. I mean, he can absolutely fly. And, you know, he's improved so much at the running back position that, you know, and we've got some good running backs on our team. And look, in a perfect world, you know, I don't know if 2 running backs in a game is the way you want to go about things, but just the way the game unfolded, you know, the way the small amount of possessions we had, it unfolded. But, you know, Chad had worked his way up. And look, that was not something that happened by chance. I mean, he earned that. He earned those carries and proved worthy when he had them. It
only came out of nowhere to perhaps the fans who were watching, because you had seen his incremental growth since he stepped foot on campus last year. From Archer High School, he's up in Gwinnett County. He was originally committed to Army, if I read correctly. What did you see in him that maybe other big-name programs did not to convince him to come to Tech?
Well, there's something about guys that go to programs that are winning programs. They come, or they should say go to. They come from those programs that are winning programs. They coach them the right way. They demand the right things out of them. But at the end of the day, speed, you can't replace speed, and he can run. You know, to be able to get him, and you know, shout out to, you know, Tim McFarland and the job he does as director of high school relations, and being able to have those relationships with these high school coaches and have guys like Chad be able to join the program.
Yeah, you can be as fast as you want, but if you're not decisive as a running back, you slow down considerably. He was not only quick, found that seam, one cut, downhill, 41 yards, and a terrific debut for Chad Alexander. Certainly not the only standout from Saturday, but of course the attention is all towards this Saturday and the home opener at Bobby Dodd Stadium, a Hyundai Field, your Yellow Jackets, and the Georgia State Panthers. Rolling along here on this Thursday night, live from New Realm Brewing on the Eastside Beltline is the Brent Key Coaches Show. We're back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
You know, Georgia
and the community. Together we're building the future of technology right here in Georgia. Hyundai and Georgia Tech. It's our journey as we welcome you back on this Thursday night. It's the Brent Key Coaches Show live from New Realm Brewing, East Side Beltline of Atlanta. Big thanks to all of you who have come out. I know you brought one of your staffers out here as well, your senior football advisor. Anna Mogridge is among the faithful here at New Realm. Big weekend for Coach Mo. Hey, Coach Mo. Tech Talk's coming out tomorrow on social media with Coach Mo, because not only does he have the home opener with you at Bobby Dodd Stadium, a Hyundai Field Saturday, but tomorrow it is the season opener for Georgia Tech volleyball, the Georgia Tech Invitational. Number 14 Yellow Jackets taking on UCLA, then back at it.
Let's go.
Sunday versus New Mexico State, Monday versus Coastal Carolina. And you can check out Coach Mogridge's daughter, middle blocker, Liv Mogridge. You know, most of the time growing up, Liv was just known as Alan's dad. Now he's at a place where everybody knows him as, you know, as father of Liv, or, you know, Liv is known as Alan's daughter. So this is nice. It's nice. Yeah, I mixed that up, Alan. I nailed it on the Tech Talks. I'm only good for one correct phrasing. But no, it's got to be fun having him, and you know how scarce free time is for your coaches. So to know that, you know, he's going to be there watching his daughter at O'Keefe Gymnasium all season long has got to be awesome.
It's really important. Well, first off, me and Mo go way back. We've known each other for a long time.
That's underselling it, because he was on the Western Carolina staff in 2003. Do I have it right? When he left, he gave you his office when you came and joined the staff.
And then who was after me? All right, so in a 3-year stretch, it was Alan Mogridge for a year. Then it was me. Then it was Jeep Wade.
Wow. And then they
back to back in the same spot, same position coach. It was crazy. And then we ended up being neighbors across. And then I got other friends here. I got a friend of mine I grew up with. My childhood friend walking in right now, Joey Crawford. He's a I'm gonna shameless plug. He's an actor, and he's in town filming a filming a series right now. So he's he was my mom's third grade class. My mom had all the troubled kids in her class because she did. She had all the troubled kids. So Joey goes by his Hollywood name is Clayne Crawford, but it's so cool to see him here in town filming a movie or filming a show right now, and just two kids that made it out of Clay, Alabama.
How about that? Yeah, he's working on a show, and you guys put on a show this past Saturday. But make sure you get out to O'Keefe Gymnasium. All the matches this weekend are sold out. In fact, there's only one match remaining at O'Keefe Gymnasium that is not a sellout. So I hope Coach Mogridge got his tickets, or else he'll be, having to watch that from the outside in.
Maybe Mo knows somebody that can get him in.
I think he might.
I don't know.
He might be on the ticket list somewhere.
Liv is awesome. I mean, I knew Liv, when they lived across the street from us, it was, and he's worked for George O'Leary.
How about that? Yeah, so in that 3-year span at Western Carolina, Coach Mo, then you, then Jeep Wade, then I'm guessing they just condemned the office after that.
I mean, what else would you do?
Probably. Another guy who was one of your standouts defensively was Amari Harvey, 8 tackles, career high, had that crucial 4th down stop on Florida State's second possession. I remember you saying in the spring that he's matured as much as anyone that you've been around. How so, and how is that translated to the Amari Harvey that we're seeing on the field this year?
Well, the big thing in football is you cannot play the game. It's an emotional game, but you can't play the game emotionally, all right? And, the evidence of it, he made that 4th and 4 stop. It was they had the penalty. It was, a decision we had to make. He makes that stop, and he turns and, finds his teammates. It's about the team, and he's a really good player. He's improving. I mean, really, seriously, improving every week. And just to see his toughness and the tackles he made. It made some really crucial tackles in that game. It was awesome. It was awesome.
He had 6 TFLs by 7 different players on Saturday. Kyle Eford, CP Lee had a half TFL apiece. And that included Tajay Butler, your true freshman, getting in there at linebacker. What's allowed him to crack the depth chart and get some early playing time at a crucial position in linebacker like that?
DNA.
That's 3 good letters to start out, right?
He's a talented guy, very, very talented. Going to be a really good football player for Georgia Tech in the future. And that's the cool thing about Tyler is, a lot of coaches, and I'm such a believer in, you have to play to be able to get, to grow and, to get that experience. And Tyler actually believes the same way. And he scripts out the series that guys go in to be able to get them to get them the experience. And it doesn't matter if the game is up or down 3 scores, right? We have to get those guys experience. We have to play, and if you trust in a guy to be able to put him in the game, you got to trust in him. And Tajay ended up coming up with a big play in the game. I think Tyler will tell you how much he has to improve on, like everybody, but. It was good for him to get the experience. I'll look to see him more and more as the weeks go on. Yeah,
it's one of those plays that can certainly build confidence in a hurry. He's got a great tutor as well in Kyle Eford, as we noted, your redshirt sophomore, ACC linebacker of the week, 10 tackles, a half TFL against Florida State. And he became something of a social media sensation during and after that Florida State game. People were just fascinated by the high shoulder pads, the neck roll, the eye black. He cuts a very old school silhouette. He's our pregame guest this week on the radio broadcast, but you got to like somebody who just looks out of Central Casting from the Waterboy and plays with his pads as well.
Kyle...
You seem, by the way, like a neck roll enthusiast. Yes or no?
I may or may not have had to wear one when I was in high school.
Okay.
No, Kyle plays the game the right way. And he goes about everything the right way. He's going to have 8, 10, 12 tackles in a game, and he's going to be on the front row of FCA on Sunday night, bringing guys with him. That's what's cool about Kyle. He's an unbelievable leader. He affects his teammates in the right way, I don't know if some people out there probably remember this name, Matt Urimovich. He was a guy that actually played with me. He played linebacker with me. Ended up getting hurt, but on September 12th of 2001, Remy joined the U.S. Army and became an Army Ranger. He texted me the other night and said, he's like, I love the way 44 plays. And he said 44 and 85,
wow.
Jackson Halls. And he wants to send them personalized Army Ranger shirts for who they are and the way they play the game. So I thought that was really cool coming from a guy that served our country and done what he's done in the military. So,
yeah.
But Kyle, I can't say enough good things about Kyle Evert.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It wasn't just his look, but his play that drew attention on Saturday. 85, like you said, that was Jackson Hawes. He was one of your transfers that made their debuts in week 0. Really was great in, kicking out and sticking his blocks. What allowed him to be part of a successful first game for the offense and Jackson Hawes, and what can Tech fans expect from the Yale transfer moving forward?
He's big, strong, just a really good football player. We're very fortunate to have Jackson here. We go out to practice, I think it was on Tuesday, and I kind of go through flex lines and talk to different guys. And for ever how many months or whatnot, I've walked up to him and say, hey, what's up, Yale? And I said that to him, and he looked at me and goes, Coach, I'm not Yale anymore. I'm a Yellow Jacket. And, he's got such a tremendous future. He might continue to play for, 10 months, 10 years, who knows with the talent he has. But ever how long it is, he already knows he's going to be an investment banker when he's done. He's got the relationships with people. That's what he wants to do. He's such a bright young man. He's such a great representative of Georgia Tech.
If he's going to be an investment banker, I think it would be wise to buy now on Jackson Hawes. Keelan Rutledge had that big fumble recovery on what turned out to be a touchdown drive for him. Third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. He came in, right guard, amidst those 4 returning offensive line starters. He looked like he belonged. Jeep calls him a throwback offensive lineman, somebody who has contagious toughness. Your thoughts on Keelan and what he gave to you on that right side of the line?
Well, you said it the right way. You said toughness, and he is. He's old school. He's throwback, and toughness is what matters on the O-line. It's what matters on this team, and I thought Red did a nice job. He knows he's got a lot of things to improve on, like everyone else. But everyone talks about the transfer portal and wants to make this big negative thing in college athletics. But we just talked about 2 kids that are extreme bright spots and positives of the opportunities that are created with the transfer portal. Guys that are gonna. One guy that already graduated from Ivy League school who gets to come here, be in grad school, and another guy that's going to really change his life for making that decision to come to Georgia Tech. Whether he plays football, like I said, for 10 more years, or it doesn't matter. But he's going to walk out of here with a Georgia Tech education and a Georgia Tech diploma, and he's going to change his life for the better, regardless of how long he plays football.
Jeep told me something today about Keelan I couldn't believe. He's 6'4", 310. He's from Royston, Georgia. He played quarterback for a little bit his junior and senior year. I'm sure that was probably the first thing that he told you. Hey, if you ever need an emergency QB, I think slide me over. I can take the snaps from Weston.
I think little bit is the key term there.
Okay.
No, but he was. So many kids develop at different rates. I remember looking at him coming out of high school, and he was. I think he was probably 230 at the time.
Really?
230, 240. Guys develop at different rates, and you can't predict that. We can try all we want in the evaluation of recruiting, but we can't predict how guys are going to grow.
He filled up and he filled out, and he showed out on Saturday. Once again, Georgia Tech versus Georgia State as we continue to count you down to the home opener at 8 p.m. on Saturday night from Bobby Dodd Stadium. Network airtime at 6 o'clock. Make sure you come out early as well for a hell of a block party. The featured musical act is Old Dominion. Will be a lot of fun, and if you didn't get the memo, wear your white on Saturday night. We want to see white jerseys, white shirts as far as the eye can see over there off at North Avenue on Saturday night. We saw in the fourth quarter of that Florida State game, Coach, the conditioning of your guys really start to shine. And that's a testament to A.J. Artis and the rest of your strength staff, what they've done to get you guys ready to hit the season running. and be in a position physically where you guys could impose your will on Florida State, particularly on that final drive?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the people that you don't hear about or know about that have such an impact on football games. And, going into the game, we thought we had a fast team. We thought we had a team that was not just fast in certain spurts, but fast. It could be fast for the duration of the game. And, I thought that showed up on Saturday. AJ does a phenomenal job. The thing that has really occurred here in, the last 2 years, and this is a credit to and a huge thank you really to President Cabrera at the top, to Jay Batt as our athletic director, to allowing us to be able to use the sports science, technology. We're Georgia Tech. We have to lead everyone in the world of sports science and of technology used. And we have a lot of people. AJ, his crew, AJ Byron, Sean Boyle, Pat Boyle, who's director of research and analytics. Brad, our trainer, who's so involved with those guys. Everything we do is monitored. Everything we do is tracked. And I like to laugh and say it's 60-40, 40-60 of the sports science, and then just gut intuition of how we go about things. But to be able to have the resources to be in that world has really allowed us to be able to put our guys in a position to be in shape and be strong to play complete football games.
What makes it even more exciting, for those of you who may not have come to Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field since the end of last season, at the corner of Techwood and Bobby Dodd Way, you'll see a big old hole in the ground where the Fanning Center is currently under construction, and there will be so much square footage in the new Fanning Center dedicated to sports science. So it's just really exciting how you guys will utilize that to further weaponize this program and give Georgia Tech the best version of its student athletes every time they take the field. That's going to be a lot of fun.
It's really cool to pull up every morning to walk in and see the progress, and to see the progress of knowing what's coming in the future, to know that is that's part of what is happening now. Now there's a lot of memories that as the demo was going on, seeing it go to the ground, there's a lot of memories that went down with it. But now to see the new, to see the footprint being put in place, knowing that we'll have a state-of-the-art facility that will allow us to continue to be at the cutting edge of everything.
And now you got a little extra view of the skyline over the northeast end of Bobby Dodd Stadium come Saturday night. If you are coming to the game versus Georgia State, give yourself a little extra patience. There will be some changes in the traffic patterns around campus owing to that construction going on. So just make sure you give yourself a little extra time to get situated on Saturday night.
Well, I heard there's going to be a lot of people there.
That's what I heard. In fact, it was just announced today that Georgia Tech has sold out its season ticket allotment for students, almost 6,000. So you will have a packed student section. We know they'll be wearing white as well. And I know that is a sound you will certainly welcome, just a testament to the inertia that you guys have built. But you know that for so many Saturdays, that energy is set by the students. So to know that you've got a sold-out student section awaiting you on Saturday, that just has to put an even extra charge into you.
That's what's so cool, is to see our students come out, to see our fans, our alumni, to see all them at the games. All right, to know that our kids go through the same thing that the students do. Our kids go through the same thing that our alumni have gone through, the people that have gone through Georgia Tech, and they're out there competing. They're going through the 20 hours a week of athletics. The support that we get from them is outstanding. And I know sometimes that hey, you might have something you have to do. You might have for the students, they might have another obligation, right? But if I can just say on here how much of an impact that makes to see our students, to see our fan base, to see our people out at games, and to understand that these are 18 to 22-year-old kids that are going through the exact same thing that they have gone through or are going through, right? And they're going out there and laying it on the line to really to create that environment for the fans, right? That's what's really cool. All right, so as many fans as we can get there, as many people as we can have cheering and supporting our kids. Look, it's one thing to talk about the coach. I mean, it's not about coaches. It's about the kids that are out there on the field. It's about the kids that are out there playing. And all the support we can get, the better. And I mean, when it's rocking, it's as good as anywhere in the entire country. And I'm expecting this Saturday night at 8 o'clock this to be the best environment in the entire country.
There is no better sight than Bobby Dodd under the lights, and you get it in the home opener this Saturday, 8 o'clock, Tommy's Leather versus Georgia State. Somebody that we may not have mentioned yet that may have been one of the unsung standouts for you in that Florida State game. Might not be reflected in stats, but on the film and in the grading and breakdown from you and your coaches, who's somebody that really deserves credit for the role he played to get that win?
Well, we've talked about Jackson Halls already.
We have.
I mean, I would say David Shanahan, but he's been talked about so much for the last
I saw him in the Dublin airport on Sunday. I said, well, David, back to anonymity for you, partner. I was half expecting the headline in the paper that next morning in Dublin to say, hold by Shanahan leads to Georgia Tech win. No mention of Aiden Burr. Just all about the hold from David.
Yeah, I know. If you had to say unsung, I would. You know, no one when you play corner and no one calls your name, it's usually a good thing. And Warren Burrell, the job Warren did, Warren Burrell did a heck of a job at corner. It was not contested at one point. Nothing really came his way. And I look at the secondary the same as the offensive line. You got two corners, you got two tackles, you have two safeties, you have two guards, you have a center, and you have a nickel. Right? Well, all of those guys have to work together. And there might be times that an offensive tackle doesn't really have anybody challenge them in the game, and they've done their job. All right? There might be a time they've done their job for 70 plays, and 2 of those plays they gave up a sack. Well, that guy across from him is going to be player of the week in the conference. Mm-hmm. No different than a corner. All right? So the what they have to do in a game is so similar. But I thought Warren did a really nice job, and I'm expecting really good things from him as the season goes on.
He's a veteran. He started 22 games at Tennessee. He's an Atlanta Metro kid. When you evaluated him in the transfer portal, what had you confident he'd be a good fit?
Yeah, well, I want long corners that can run. I think that goes without saying. I mean, you want, big, fast, smart guys. So, that was a big thing. We needed experience at that position. To go alongside alongside Amari and Rodney, who plays at the nickel spot. But again, it was another relationship that we had on staff with Bill Stewart, who works with us, who was the head coach for a long time at North. Been a very successful high school coach here in the state of Georgia, the state of Alabama, the state of Florida. In a relationship, again, that comes through and allows us to get a player that's really helping us.
Yeah, Warren, lack of stats, but that is a good thing in his situation. We'll take our final timeout. We'll dive into our preview of Georgia State as they unveil a new era. Del McGee, their new head coach, some familiar faces on his coaching staff. We'll ask you about that as well. Hey, Georgia, you can play Georgia Lottery games online, at home, on your phone, or anywhere. Go to GALottery.com and click on DigiGames. Back to wrap it up with head coach Brent Key in just a moment. It's the Brent Key Coaches Show here on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. Featuring Chris Mooneyham and Justin Hanover from the Georgia Tech Sports Network team as we continue to get you set for Tommy's Leather Saturday night under the lights at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Georgia Tech versus Georgia State. Long time coming for the Jackets and Panthers to finally get together. And Georgia State with a new head coach, Del McGee, longtime head coach here in the state of Atlanta. It was only a matter of time before he'd get a head job. 48 transfers that he brought in as he begins to construct his roster, his program. For a first-time head coach, and I know he's got experienced coordinators, how challenging is it, Brent, to divine a new head coach's tendencies, the way he manages a game?
Yeah, well, you can't. I mean, there's no way to. Anything you do is going to be it's going to be guesstimates, it's going to be hypotheticals, and we've really tried this week to stay away from that. This week is about being the best version of the 2024 football team that we can possibly be. All right, we have to be improve. We have to show improvement in fundamentals. We have to show improvement in assignments. We have to show improvement in the toughness we play with, the discipline we play with. We have to show all those things. All right. Once the game starts and the game begins to unfold, all right, then we have to be great coaches. We have to be great at adjustments. We have to be great at putting our players in the position to be able to take advantage of what they do. Look, we all know. I mean, we've worked with a lot of those guys. We have a lot of relationships with those guys. Jim Chaney's going to come out. He's going to have a 20-play script. It's going to be something he's worked on probably since mid-May that he's been working to put together. It's going to include all sorts of different variations of plays and different things that we've not seen before. All right, same with Kevin. Kevin's going to come out and Kevin's going to he's going to do certain things early to see how we adjust to it and how we react. So, to know those things, about a play call, that's one thing. But it's not about people, and you can't make it a people versus people. It's two schools. It's two teams of 120 kids. They're going to go out and compete on a field, and we have to be good as coaches to be able to make those adjustments and put our players in the right positions.
Jim Chaney, longtime SEC OC. He spent the 2022 season here as an offensive analyst. Kevin, that's Kevin Shearer, whom you elevated to defensive coordinator last season on top of serving as linebackers coach. Given that familiarity, how much more heightened awareness is there this week in the game planning, the signaling, disguising of the looks, etc., knowing that both coordinators have some understanding of how a Georgia Tech offense and defense likes to operate?
Well, there's we cover those things every week, regardless of who we play. Are there crossover, there similarities, or the people that know what we might do. The helmet communication has been a big thing that's alleviated a lot of that.
How'd the in-helmet communication go? First time in a live game on Saturday.
I thought it went very well.
Yeah.
I think we've been practicing since the spring. We had a little outage that we had to work with, but other than that, I thought it went really well. So, with coaches and other teams, people can get caught up in worrying about the other coach. And it's not that. It's not that at all. It's about our players going out and competing on Saturday night.
And that is the scene. 8 o'clock Saturday night. We will see you there at Bobby Dodd St. Emil Hyundai Field as we wrap up another edition of the Brent Key Coaches Show. Brent, appreciate it. He's Brent Key. I'm Andy DeMatcher. We'll talk to you next time on the Brent Key Coaches Show.
Go Jackets.